One of the big trends that's happening in the job market, particularly for tech today, is that people are switching companies significantly more often than we used to. I mean, if you used to think about sort of GE or Toyota and your career at GE or your career at Toyota spanning 30 or 40 years, that implied something about what training you'd get, what preparation for new roles you would get, and also how you think about what it is that really separates you and sort of becomes your contribution in that career. So we're seeing not only that people are more often switching companies, but they're also actually switching industries with a greater rate. And that's been really important for my teaching and sort of mission at MIT. We're trying to figure out, given that people are switching careers more often, what's our opportunity to impact practice, given that people are going to be in a place where they're going to want to come up to speed on new technology or on a whole new industry in their mid-career. So that as a sort of audience for my time at MIT has become a big part of where I spend my time at MIT. My teaching in the graduate program around system design and management, on average, the folks coming into that have 10 to 15 years worth of work experience before they come back. And that's sort of in contrast to the more traditional MBA model, where nowadays we see people coming back into our MBA programs with as little as 2 years worth of work experience. There's a place for both of those, but I'm really interested in sort of how do we impact sort of mid-career of practice. Part of the reason I'm so interested in that is I think that there's a lot of areas in product development where we sort of live hand to mouth. There's a tremendous amount of firefighting, and we're not necessarily making use of the techniques, the methods that sort of fix some of these common issues that frequently recur. As an example of that, I used to work for NASA, and we got guidance that, there is schedule and budget variance, that we may not exactly hit our targets, and therefore we should express sort of plus or minus 2% on our schedule and budget forecast. I remember doing that in 2007 for a project that was supposed to launch in 2014. Lo and behold, 2022 was the first launch of the project that I worked on in 2007. It was 7 years late. It doubled its schedule. Similarly, from a budget perspective, on average, NASA programs run 66% over cost, and we were given guidance around 2%. So there's a big mismatch in the data there, and I think that's, in some sense, that kind of schedule and budget overrun is not typical, but it's emblematic of a lot of big technology projects. Another commonly cited one, Berlin Schönefeld Airport. Tried 6 different times to open before it finally did open. What happened in there? So this has become a big part of my teaching at MIT. Among others, we've been trying to figure out how to make use of scale at MIT. So I run a program around architecture and systems engineering that's now had some 12,000 alumni across 77 countries. That is very much part of our mission from an MIT perspective, and has become really important to me from a career perspective, thinking about how do we impact practice in a bunch of different countries. As one example of that, I have a course now that's not only run in English, it's also run in Spanish, and it's run in Portuguese, because we were thinking about where are the people that do product development. They're not only English speaking. So in fact, we, in the dog days of the pandemic, MIT struck a major series of committees thinking about how is the change that has been, in some sense, forced upon us by the pandemic going to present opportunities for impact from an MIT perspective. And that was a fascinating opportunity to think with some of my colleagues around different schools at MIT about how we expand our teaching, particularly for mid-career professionals.